All right. It's good. So the idea of healing, I'm healing the idea, or I'm healing the belief wherein I think I'm separate from God. That's all I'm healing. Right? And I do that through the acceptance of the atonement, acceptance of at-one-ment, which means I'm not separate from God. Right? If God is everything, how can I possibly be separate? It's a paradox. I can't heal the paradox. I can't do anything about the paradox in my own mind, because that's where the paradox seems to exist. In my own mind. And it's cleverly disguised by all my thoughts. But my mind is capable of reason. My mind is capable of looking at a situation, and even if I come up against the paradox, which is where I want to be, by the way, I don't want to be away from it. I want to be wedged right up tight in there, so I've got nowhere to wriggle, right? Even though my mind is capable of perceiving and comprehending the nature of a paradox in which I seem to be caught, that's not the end of the story. I'm also entitled to miracles. But I need to find the paradox in my own experience. That's what I'm here for. That's where I'm looking at joining with the Holy Spirit. Because that's a place where I run out and the Holy Spirit begins. The paradox is a place where I can go no further, but there is one who is beyond limits. Okay. So when I look at my world, it's like anything that disturbs my peace of mind in this world. Right. So I set my goal as perfect inner peace. I pick up the Course in Miracles, or I pick up the Bodhisattva, or I pick up whatever I'm using, and I set my goal as perfect inner peace. Anything that disturbs that sense of inner peace, even the slightest little side, Jesus is, right, is opportunity to recognize that I'm right up there in the paradox. I'm right up against the limit of my consciousness. It's like submariners trapped in a submarine stuck at the bottom of the ocean. They're right up against the outside, tapping, tapping, tapping. We're in here, we're in here. And Jesus comes, he's the rescue. He comes on the other side and he taps back. I'm here, I'm here. And then he moves along a bit until he gets to the hatch. And the guys inside, it's all dark. The lights are out. They have to follow Jesus's tappings to get to the hatch, and then they can get out. Right? That's the same thing we're doing here. Exactly the same thing. We're trapped in this bubble, let's say, or an idea of a bubble. Now, the paradox is I'm not really trapped. Not really. The dream, it's just an illusion, right? But I have to accept it where I find it. I have to accept myself where I find my feet. I find myself seemingly in a world of pain, suffering, and death, right? Let me not try to escape that through concepts, Bernadette. Let me not try to get out of that by using spiritual teachings. Let me apply those teachings, right? There's no point replacing my thoughts with a bunch of spiritual thoughts. All I'm doing is taking out one bunch of apples and putting in another bunch of apples. I'm taking red ones out and putting green ones in. I don't want any apples. I want my basket emptied out completely, right? Get out all the apples out of there, out of my cart. Tip them all out. So I'm always up against the paradox. So I'm walking around and I'm in my spiritual mode where I'm peaceful, and I'm telling myself, right, my goal today is inner peace. And then somebody comes along or some situation shows up that pisses me off or upsets me about something, and it's going to, and I'm going to let it. Of course I'm going to let it. I'm not going to try and be holy and pretend it doesn't upset me. No, it fucking upsets me. It gives me the shits. I hate this world, right? I can't stand this crap. I walk out my door and there's all sorts of stuff out there I don't really like or agree with, right? I let it affect me because that's where I can be honest. No, it does affect me. It upsets me. I am an alcoholic. Finally, I can admit to my pain. Until I can admit to my pain, I cannot find the honesty for prayer. And prayer is what crosses the barrier between time and space, and it's the communication device between the creator and the created, right? I'm not aware of that place of transition because I've designed myself to live within a point of limitation. And the limitation is specifically to cut me off from God and convince me that I'm separate, pardon me. Right? So I'm learning again and again and again to come up against that threshold, to come up against that point of honesty in my own experience of myself, where I need a miracle again and again and again. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to change anything, but I can change the way that I see it. I can change the way I think about it. I can learn to see it as the school of life rather than something that I feel I have to, manifest victimhood over or something. I'm never a victim. I'm never at the bequest of somebody else. Everything that happens to me is what I want. I want this to happen, or it wouldn't be happening. God's will is perfect. God's will for me is perfect happiness. If I choose to experience that through pain, suffering, and death, so be it. That's how it'll be until I choose to change my mind. But I can't change my mind until I realize what's actually going on in my mind. The true story behind the physical part that I see. What's the background here? What's the backstory that's running back here somewhere that I'm unaware of, that's producing these effects that I am aware of? That's where I need to find myself. Oh, I still believe that I'm separate from God in this situation because this situation causes me upset to my peace of mind. Therefore, let me choose to address the idea of separation in this situation, manifesting as this whatever it is, rather than try to fix this whatever it is. Because I'll be running around fixing this whatever it is for millions of years. Whereas the miracle collapses time now. Right? The miracle substitutes for learning that may have taken thousands of years, Jesus says in the Course. I don't have thousands of years. I'm done with it. I'm done with this stupid world and its stupid ways and its stupid leaders and stupid people and stupid me. Most of all, stupid me. Right? I'm done with it. I've had enough. I want something else. I don't care what the something else is, just something else that's nothing to do with the thoughts in my head. That'd be great. And then we'll deal with that when that shows up. But you got to find yourself in the paradox. You've got to find yourself in that inescapable place where all of a sudden I can't do anything about it. I'm an alcoholic. I can't do anything about it. I'm a drug addict. I can't do anything about it. I need a miracle. Right? We have this sort of propensity to live on the lower level of life, and we forget all about the power of our higher mind. It's not some sort of like, holy thing. It's our mind. It's my mind. It's the power of my mind. I'm experiencing myself seemingly trapped in this lower order level of experience, which is what I wanted. And I forgot where the out door is, where the exit door is. It's like, oh shit, how did I get in here? Right? If there even is a here. There's not really a here, but it doesn't do any good to try. You'll just go crazy trying to work it out that way. I seem to be here, but there's no here. There's the paradox again. You can't work out the paradox. You'll just end up in the nut house. You need a miracle. You need something else in your own thinking. You need another point of reference. So when you get to the paradox of the situation you find yourself in, you have another reference for it. Oh, that's right. I must become less so that he becomes more. spiritual practice is really a way of well, everybody knows, hopefully now, it's like it's really the death of the ego. It's like I'm allowing myself to die gracefully so that I can be reborn as the truth of me. It's not even really reborn, but so I can remember the truth of me and be that. In the moment you wake up, you'll cease to exist here, never having been, and you'll find yourself as you truly are, as spirit, on the other side of the veil. It's like those virtual, you know, those goggles, and the kids all put them on and they play their games and they think they're actually in the game. And it's like, Tina has them, you know, and then your mother can be calling you for dinner and dinner and dinner and come on. And the kids, and they're so immersed in their experience, they can't even hear their mother. She could be like yelling in their ear and all they're doing is playing virtual whatever. It's the same thing. Jesus is calling you for dinner and you're just like, hang on, I haven't been over in this section. Hang on, I've just got to do this. I've just got to sell my goods in the marketplace. It's like, all right, well, you're going to miss out on dinner. We'll come back around tomorrow and invite you to dinner again. That's kind of the same thing. I should keep my finger on my nose here, but I'm always in a place where the opportunity or the call to awaken is present in me if I'm present with it, which is why remembering my purpose in any given situation is important, which is why I need mind training. Otherwise, I'm just going to fall back into judgment. And it's easy to do, and we all do it, and we don't want to judge ourselves for doing it. Otherwise, we're judging our judgments and we're doubly judged. Then I need a miracle to even want a miracle. So it's like, all right, yep, I'm a judgmental, condemning arsehole, you know, whatever it is. It's like, let me get to the bottom. I'm a piece of shit. It's like the Hindus say, I'm lower than the shit that falls from the arse of the snake. You know? The Sufis say I'm blameworthy, because the blameworthy, it sounds great, but until you realize that you're responsible for everybody's pain. It's not someone else's pain I'm seeing. It's my own pain I'm denying and projecting out there onto the world. But you can't, the Buddhism talks about total humility, you know, like you have to reach that place of total humility before you can start your journey, before you can start your path. You have to realize that you are the problem. I'm getting in my own way here. I'm saying one thing, but really I mean another. I'm saying I want to give up sex, or I'm saying I want to transcend this so I can have an experience, but I don't really want to. I'm just substituting sex with not sex. It's the same thing. I was going to tell you that funny story, but I think it's funny, about Tom Cruise. So one of my partners some years ago had a thing for Tom Cruise, right? Like a sexual thing. And so as a I don't know if you'd call it a gift or a prank or whatever, one Valentine's Day, I got a big paper bag that fit over my head, and I printed out a picture of Tom Cruise's face and I stuck it on the front and cut out 2 little holes like in Tom Cruise. It's like it was the trigger, you know, because I knew she was closing her eyes and thinking of Tom Cruise. we had that conversation. But the thing was, I thought it would be cool, or I thought it would be a thing, you know, it would be a thing. But I actually got really embarrassed putting the bag over my head. Like, it really brought up a lot of stuff for me, you know, like I thought I was doing her a really nice thing, and she would either laugh or she'd say, take that silly bag off your head or something. But it actually brought a lot of shit up for me. It brought up a lot of unworthiness, and it brought up a lot of, you know, all sorts of stuff. So you never know what anything's for. You know, you never know. You just never know what's contained behind anything. So you just got to be yourself. You just got to be the doofus that you are, and you know, like, seriously. Don't try to be holy, Bernadette. Don't try to be like, you know what I'm saying? It's not about being Mother Teresa. It's about being yourself. Anyway, any questions? Joe, any questions? Kevin? Doug? Marielle, who's not really Marielle? Tina? Fran? We're all good? That's it? We're done?
I had a question.
I knew you did.
So, great sadness, and then there's great joy. So these moments I'm spending now during the day of feeling complete joy, complete love, complete unity. I feel Christ with me. I find these moments where it dawns on my mind and I am completely connected, complete gratitude. And then there's complete disunity and separation and thoughts. And then I forgive. I put it all out there. Don't hide anything. Give it all to Jesus. And then I reconnect again and I feel it, all that burden completely gone. So it seems that I'm going in and out of the darkness and the light, bringing this darkness to the light. And I just really want this this purification to be over. I'm ready for a complete light. And now I know I'm just projecting outward because it can happen right now. When you were talking earlier, when you asked me if I was sleeping, just prior to that, I disappeared into the light and I just was so happy to be with everybody and I felt such love. I had no thoughts and I just was looking at this pure light around everybody. That's all I wanted to say.
Was there a question in there?
Probably not.
Okay.
Unless you can find one.
Well, not really. I mean, it sounds perfect that like you do go in and out of it, and sometimes it's thick and fast, and sometimes it seems to be more graceful and
yeah.
I mean, there was a period in my transformation early on where I remember there was a kind of a lull. Nothing seemed to be happening and everybody else seemed to be having experiences and stuff was going on for them in meditation and everyone was talking about things. And I remember saying to Jesus, come on, Jesus, bring it on. I want more. I want to get through this, whatever. And then the next thing, like 3 days later, I was in the thick of it. And it was just like, holy shit, be careful what you ask for. So there's a divineness in surrendering to the way things are. If your transformation seems to be, it's like where Jesus says your transformation will keep pace with you. If it seems to be up and down and up and down and up and down, so be it. Accept it because God, it's like Jesus knows what you can handle better than you do. Like, yep, absolutely. This is obviously how it's meant to be for me right now. It's like my acceptance of it will bring me to a point where my want of it to be over and my need of it, which and wants and needs are all based in time, are going to be seen by me for what they are as being completely illusory and actually denial of the fact that it is now when it's done. Yeah. I can't want something and accept it at the same time. It's one or the other. Yeah. When I want something to be over, when I want this process to be done, I'm still coming from want.
No, I know we talked about that last week.
Right, exactly.
It's but just
you kind of have to see it sometimes. It's like when we started this and I said you can't hear it and you can't see it. Sometimes you got to hear it like 10 times and you realize, holy shit, I'm doing the same thing again in a slightly different form. I need a miracle, right? Yeah. But it's only in a place where you see it that you really recognize the necessity for the miracle.
Yeah.
Because mostly we live our lives in denial until we're actually kind of forced to look at what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
You know, if it wasn't for this book, you wouldn't have any reference point for what you were doing in your own thinking. You would just try to adopt a better way of thinking, but you would still be within the framework of the mind that, you know, has those thoughts. That's why the power of positive thinking and all that shit, it doesn't work.
No.
Everybody gets caught up in it and there's a fervor with it and everything like that. It's like religiosity. You know, so many people find religion and find all that sort of stuff. And it's like, hallelujah, I found something else. It's better than what I had before. And they want to proselytize it and tell everybody, and this is what you should be doing, until finally some sort of maturation occurs in their own thinking. And they're like, oh, hang on a minute. How long am I going to keep this up? You can't see yourself until you see yourself, you know, and everything's a stage. It's like the caterpillar doesn't go into the chrysalis knowing it's going to be a butterfly. It just knows it's got to build a chrysalis around itself and doesn't know anything. You know, a baby in the womb has no clue what the hell's going to happen once it exits the womb. It doesn't even know there's a womb to exit. It's like, in that you're innocent, Doug. You don't know nothing. That might seem like an insult to your ego, but like really, it's like that's your release. It's like, oh, thank God I don't know anything.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't know nothing. Jesus tells me something, I may not agree with it, I may not understand, but I'm just going to take it on board that he's got a better view of things than I do, and he probably knows me better than I know myself. So I'll just accept it on face value and see where it fits in my own journey when it's time for it to fit in. Until then, other things might have to come around in the orchestration of stuff so that I can learn what it is I need to learn to pave the way for what Jesus is telling me is about to happen.
All right. Yeah.
Tina's on the cusp of revelation. She's sort of sitting at a place where she's umming and ahhing about it in her own thinking, pointing at it, and won't quite let herself have it yet, but it's occurring nonetheless, right? She's probably the closest in this group to revelation, maybe Bernadette, I don't know, but you two guys, actually, the both of you, incredibly close. I can feel it in my waters. It's like when Jesus says, I'm aware of the revelation readiness of all my brothers everywhere. It's like when you recognize the self, when you realize true self, you also join in that because you automatically become part of the call. You become part of the call to awaken because your purpose and the goal of your purposefulness have come together. There's nothing outside of your sphere of awareness. It's like when I sit with guys, I know that they're either years off having a miraculous occurrence or awakening, or, you know, it's like you guys would also be able to get an inkling into that, right? It's like you're not separate. The power of your mind isn't something that you're going to reacquire when this is over or when you have a revelatory moment. It's something you're learning to reconnect with now. It's like you're rekindling a relationship that you threw away. I'm rekindling my relationship with the universe. And as I begin to tap into it, even incrementally, even day to day, even through doing these lessons, things begin to occur in my consciousness that I tell myself I can't explain it, but somewhere in my mind, I know what it is perfectly well. Because I am one with all things. There's nothing that I'm not aware of. I've just forgotten. It's not like you don't have the memory of God in you. You've just forgotten it. But Jesus has kept it safe for you. And, you know, in the moment where you're willing to remember, he'll give it back to you. It's like an elder brother who's, you know, my mother, my daughter's grandmother gave my daughter, when she was about 4 or 5 years old, a set of very expensive solid gold earrings when she first got her ears pierced. And I remember telling my mum, I said, Mum, she's going to lose those in a week. Like, you should have just got her some cheap ones, you know, whatever. And she's like, nah, I wanted her to have them. And for a while, I held on to those earrings for Trinity. And I told her, you can only wear them on special occasions when we go out. You know, it's like Jesus. I'm going to hang on to this memory for you so you can experience what it's like to have separation. And then I'll give it back to you. But at first, I'm just going to give it back to you a little bit. Because it'll fuck you up if you get the whole thing and you're not ready for it. It's like revelation is your right, but purification is necessary first. Oh, look at that painting in Joanne's. That's funny. Oh, no, that's in my house, of course. I was just going to say I have that exact same painting somewhere. That's funny. So it's like the memory of God is in everyone and exists in you. And at some point in your transition, you did recover it and you did awaken to it, right? When that is, Jesus said it's only time that stands between what he knows and what you know, what he knows now and what you know in time. Time is the only consideration, and the miracle comes so that you can collapse time. So we're learning to become miracle-minded. We're not learning to work it out for ourselves. We're not learning to depend on our own thinking about how to proceed in regard to the particulars of our physical sojourn. I need a miracle every day. I need a miracle every moment, every now. I'm going to live in faith and let everything be miraculous. Most of the time, I forget that. Most of the time, the world is too strong, which is why this is a course in joining together in purpose, reminding each other what we're truly about and not judging each other for when we forget. We have a saying, we have a thing that we say here in Australia about taking the piss. You guys have that? Take the piss? It means to make fun of, right? We take the piss of someone or something. It means to make fun of the situation, to bring light to the situation, right? To make fun of it, make it not so serious. And, we take the piss out of each other, right? It's the same thing. It's the same that siblings do. We're all siblings. We're all like, come on, like taking the piss, trying not to take things so seriously. But sometimes we forget and we take it seriously. We forget that it's just a dream. It's just an illusion. And then we let go. When we take things seriously, things start to become concretized in our associations within ourselves, and we start to go within and down and become these sort of like withdrawn, like the whole Course in Miracles is just learning to laugh at yourself. That's it. That's the whole thing. I'm learning to laugh at myself. To not take myself seriously. I'm the joke. I'm the joke. I'm the brunt of the joke, the punchline. I'm all of it. I'm the, and that's how I have to see myself all the time. Not always easy. Sometimes it's a great, it's not. Sometimes you want to justify what I want to justify what I think I am as this body and Course in Miracles teacher or some other shit, None of that matters. We're just remembering that together and allowing that remembering to extend subconsciously, consciously, however, out through the permeation of the matrix, out through the permeation of the dream, so that in the times when everything seems to be hitting the fan, the shit hits the fan. That's another thing we say here. Do you have that saying, Tina? The shit hits the fan. So when the shit hits the fan, I'm going to be that person that's laughing. It's like at my grandmother's funeral. I couldn't stop laughing. I had to excuse myself from the damn funeral. I did not expect to be laughing at the funeral. That was the last thing I expected. I loved my grandmother and I wanted to be reverent and, respectful at her final grand hurrah. And I started sniggering away like this is actually probably 6 months after my illumination. I couldn't stop laughing anyway, but I was trying to keep it together, straight face, and I had to go outside. Everybody's up on the pulpit doing their eulogies and their stuff, and I'm like laughing out loud. My mother tells me, get out, go outside if you can't. And I went outside, and there's my uncle smoking a cigarette. He couldn't deal with it. He's like on his terms, and I couldn't deal with it on my terms. But we're
My
laughing.
mom's too.
You did?
Yeah,
Right.
me and my brothers. Yeah. It was just all so ridiculous.
Right. It's so ridiculous, isn't it? But it's not until you realize it, it's like, damn, I don't believe in this anymore. I don't believe in this stuff. I don't believe in, what am I doing? I'm farewelling the body. I'm laying the body to rest. Like Jesus says, let the dead bury the dead. It's like whoever it is you came here to bury, they're not even there. They're not even there. They're long gone. It's a funny thing. But we have all these rituals. We have all these practices and things that we persist. It's like time and space is so slow to change when you look at the big picture of the world. It's slow to change. All these rituals and traditions that we persist in. It's like I've seen in America now, they're pulling down statues to ancient figures, that did stuff, and like destroying old symbolic references for whatever in one time period in time that would have been seen as a good reason to put a statue. And in today's marketplace, fuck no, we don't want that shit, But look how long it takes for anything to change. Where does it go from here? Who knows? Maybe they'll put them all back up again later. They'll realize, well, we didn't really need to pull it all down.
The old bastard statues needed to come down.
We'll put that on a t-shirt. Those old bastard statues, they need to come down. But it's like the idea of addressing it in time and space, Fran, right? The idea of pulling down the statue or not pulling down the statue. Everything is mind. It's just as much verification of the reason the statue is there as not. Maybe in a few generations, people will be like, I wonder what used to be there, and they'll have no reference for it. But right here and now, how does that help to pull the statue down? It doesn't. It might make me feel better.
That's the whole thing. It's just so surface. It's such bullshit.
Right, it's on the surface.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're not really doing anything to change.
Exactly. And those that are pulling the statue down are the reverse antithesis of the reason that the statue is there in the first place. But they won't want to hear that because in your own mind, you think you're actually doing something. You think you're in a world where things are happening, and you're not. That's the illusion. That's the confusion of it all. I'm not here. I'm in eternity dreaming this whole thing. In a dream of opposites. The statue's there representing this. I represent the opposite of that. But you don't realize that by representing the opposite of it, you actually verify what it is and make it real and perpetuate that yin yang. And in your next lifetime, you're going to come around, you're going to represent the statue again. It's like, holy shit, let me let go of all my ideas about statues and what they represent and simply open up to the love of God now.
Tina, were you Robert E. Lee last lifetime?
I have no idea.
I guess so, because I'm about this life this time. So
I was like, oh, you are?
no, not anymore. But those things are have been confronting.
Oh, well, I had that whole thing here too. I went out and protested the deforestation and tied myself to trees when I was 20 and did all that. So, you got to stand up for something in the world, you got to represent something.
I want to be free.
Realize that it's all false.
I want to be free.
Well, you can't want to be free. You are free.
There you go. Right on.
Right. I'm free. Wanting to be free is like Doug wanting to be over his experience of transformation.
Exactly.
You're already over it. It's already done. I'm just remembering how I woke up. The dream's already over. How long do I want to take to recognize it? That's up to me. Good. Anything else? Kevin, you all good? Kev's good. Joe's good. Bernadette? Why isn't anyone saying no? Fran?
I just want to kind of underline the, with my pen.
I know. You know that the story was explained to me about that.
I'm going to finish.
I'll go on.
The yes, wow, thank you thing.
Yep.
I have just had these moments of wow. Oh, that really can happen in an instant. That can really disappear. The first, I don't know how else to say it, but I'm grateful for that. That's all.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay. Yes, wow, and thank you. So when we had I've got to try and rack my brains here for a reference, because I probably don't have it anymore. No, I can't think when it was. But I remember Ted did a teaching about, we used to have, like, so some days there would be 70 or 80 people right in the room. It'd be packed. And there'd be people standing around the back. There wasn't enough chairs and all that sort of stuff. And Ted would be teaching. And there would be some people that would bring their books to class, and they'd be, like Ted would read a lesson, they'd be underlining and they'd be doing the whole thing like that. And so they could go back and Ted would make comment on things. So they would underline the things that he made comment on, and they'd go back and they would talk about it later, right? Which, if you imagine, right, try to put yourself in this scenario, close your eyes for a second if you want to. If you imagine 2,000 odd years ago, same message. Someone's going. Oh, you off, Doug? All right. So 2,000 years ago, Jesus is offering the same message on the Mount of Olives or whatever it is that we're hearing today, right? Or was it Mount Sinai? No, that was Moses. So anyway, there's no pens, there's no paper, there's nothing to underline. He simply says, listen, right? Now, the mind that is attempting to underline, to study, to pinpoint, to recapture perhaps in the future something that was said today, blah, 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 all of that is the mind that is in denial. It's not the mind that is standing there listening to Jesus, right? Now, there's a difference, and this is where it gets to listening and hearing, right? Listening with a completely open mind is a mind that doesn't stop to question what's being said or doesn't stop to reference what's being said. It stays open in the action of listening right to the end, because the message that's being delivered isn't of words. The words are nothing. They're symbols, right? They're twice removed from reality. The message that Jesus is talking about has nothing to do with the words that he's using. Attempting to underline the words and understand the words is pointless. The message of Jesus, when he stood on the mountain and said, listen, and then he started speaking the Sermon on the Mount, it's what those words represent that matters. And you have that moment to hear it. That moment. If my mind stops listening to make judgment or consideration or anything about what I think I'm hearing, what Jesus is saying, what does that mean? I better ask him about that later. whatever, then I'm not listening. I'm caught up in my own thinking again. And automatically I'm blocking myself from hearing the message, because the message is a frequency. The message is a vibration. It comes from an experience that Jesus has of truth, or Buddha has of truth, or Krishna has of truth, right? That's what I want to hear. I want to hear that frequency. So when I tell you guys nothing exists, that message, you can back and forth it in your mind, ping pong. What does he mean by that? Nothing exists. I seem to exist. What do you mean? Is nothing something that exists also? But you can get caught up in that forever. Nothing exists. Let it in. Right? It comes from a divine source. It's the first direct message I heard from God in the Godhead, in the non-temporal place. I don't know how to talk about it. Right? It does the work itself. The message does the work itself. It's like a key in a lock. I'm standing there. Jesus is offering me the key verbally. It's not the words. It's what they represent. It's where those words are coming from and what their purpose is that I have to hear. I don't hear anything with these ears. I hear it with my heart. I hear it with my heart and my mind joined together as one. I have nothing to say about it. There's no way I can try and reiterate it or headline it or line it out for later for future reference, because that's not what it's for.
Okay. It wasn't a future reference for me. They were words that symbolized an experience.
Don't defend yourself, Fran.
Huh?
Don't defend yourself. You don't need to defend yourself.
Okay, I don't. I guess I'm just like right now.
Right.
It's
Right.
like
Be that right now rather than defend yourself, okay?
yeah, okay. Because I
Agree that. Because that's
like
where the
you're
honesty
talking
is.
at me, and I
Good. Feel like that. Feel like that then. Experience what it is to feel like that.
yeah, it's really boring. So I'll just let it be.
Good. Right. Boring is a way you defend yourself.
Could be.
Absolutely. Trust me, I know it. I'm as boring as fuck. Right? It's the same as Bernadette, except she's learned not to defend herself. Right? All of that stuff. It doesn't matter what the reason. Right? I can only listen or I can hear. That's the two things. They're different. You have ears to hear, but don't, you have ears to listen and you do not hear. That's what that means. The message is a transition. It's like Morse code. I need help now. Let me write that down. No, he needs help now. Right? I'm not going to write it down. I'm not going to see what it means later. It means I need help now. I'm hearing that message now. That's the only opportunity I have. Everything else on the physical level that I attempt to do with the message is the denial of the message. Tina hears that. Good. I can't do anything with it. As soon as I break in my listening to underline something, and I sort of kid myself that I'm still listening on the other, out of the other ear while I'm doing something here, that's not it. Right? It's a total thing. If you were at the Sermon on the Mount, you had one chance to hear everything he said. You better damn pay attention, because he's gone tomorrow. He's off around the hills to Galilee. You got one chance, one moment, and that's all we have. We have this one moment. Yes or no? That's all it is. Yes or no? I either want it or I don't. And I'm not picking on you, Fran, for right. It's just a helpful example, because that's what consciousness does with everything.
I hear what you're saying. I guess
Right.
I hear what you're saying, but it just seems so separate from what I just shared. And I just,
Right. But where is this? Where is
I guess I don't want to. It's like you were checking in with us, and I just said that, and then it went off there, and it's like,
right.
Ah.
But answer this. You just said to me, it seems so separate from what I just shared. right?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah, I was, yeah,
Why?
I don't.
No,
yeah.
don't justify.
Go ahead,
Don't
go ahead,
justify
Dave,
it.
because yeah.
Why? Why does it seem so separate? Where is the separation?
Between all that you said and me saying that I heard the yes, wow,
Right.
thank you. Basically, that's all
No,
I
no, no,
said
no.
was saying.
No. Where is
Except I,
the separation?
yeah,
Where is it?
what? What do you?
Where is the idea of separation? You just said it with your own words. Everybody
I
heard
know I did, and words are
Right.
symbols. I
Right.
felt
Where is it then?
immediately separate from you.
Right. Good.
When-
That's
when-
good. That's what this is for.
Okay, right,
This
but
whole
I feel
thing,
like
this
there's
whole meeting, this whole thing. Where is that idea of separation?
everywhere. Jesus Christ, it's everywhere. I mean, it's like
Ready. Everyone do this.
I yeah, okay, I'm doing it. You know, I guess when you said I don't want to say anything anymore because it goes into this like, oh, okay. I mean, I hear what you said.
No, you don't want. No, you don't. You don't hear it. Ready? Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Where is the idea of separation?
Well, in my mind.
Right. Stop.
But where is the idea
Stop.
that I wasn't getting?
No. That's what you use to. That's what you use to go into denial. Ready? Stop there. The idea of separation is in my mind.
Yeah.
Feel it. Feel it. Just stay there and connect with it. You have to experience it. Don't jump to the next thing. This is entirely helpful. You just identified a moment of you feeling separate, right? Do you know how long it takes some people to actually come to that point where they can admit they feel separate? You just blurted it out on Zoom in front of everybody. It's like running naked down the street. It's fantastic. Now stay there. Be still. Draw the circle. No? But you see how quickly the ego adjusts.
No, I don't want to stay here.
Right. I know you don't want to.
I guess I just.
It's uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable.
It's I suppose that would be one thing.
Right.
Annoying.
Yeah,
Annoying would be a
right.
good one.
Yes. Go
Yeah.
on. Keep going.
Yeah.
Annoying. Keep going. Let's do it. Let's Tina's sick of me picking on her. She's like, yeah, pick on Fran.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Jeff.
Okay.
I'm fine.
I guess-
Denial.
Okay, Dave, for Christ's sake, okay? I mean, we could keep doing this. There's another, it's like,
No, we can't keep doing it.
yeah, no, it's like, fuck. Here, I feel like I can't connect when I'm being talked at.
Right. Who's talking at you?
The dream figure, Dave Phare.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Represents what? All things I see reflect ideas. All things I see are the results of my own thinking. What does it represent in you? I guarantee you, Fran, I'm playing the part perfectly that you asked me to play.
I'm getting that. Let me find those symbolic words.
Right.
Arrogance.
Yep.
Blowhard.
Yep.
Know-it-all.
Yep.
Doesn't listen.
Right?
Dismisses,
Yep.
dismissive.
Yep.
Funny. Doesn't really join. Says great words, even enlightening, but pushes away with them.
Good. Now stay there with that. All that meaning that you've given to me. You had your finger on your nose. That's perfect. I'm one with everything. Right? You got to own that. This is your journey of awakening. My journey of awakening is the same thing. Exactly the same thing. Owning all those things I see in my mirror. Or owning all those things that other people say to me. But I've already accepted that I'm one with all things on earth as above, so below. I am an arsehole. I'm all of that shit. I am everything you want to tell me about it, but it doesn't disturb my peace of mind because I know it about myself as above, so below. I've experienced that I'm one in eternity, just as I'm one on earth. I don't have an experience of separation in my mind, other than that you might present me the opportunity to recognize one, but in this case, not really. I was hoping you'd give me something that would throw me for a 6, but nothing. It's all old hat. You know? But we're just playing this out again and again and again. It's the same for Tina, the same for Mariel, same for Joe, same for Bernadette. We're all the same. We're going through the recognition of not just our yin, but our yang as well. You see in me what you deny in yourself. Now, that's where you got to stay, because that's where the healing happens. You wouldn't see it in me if you didn't deny it. If your mind was healed, all you would see would be the Christ in your brother. I know the Christ in you perfectly well. There's nothing you can tell me about myself that's going to upset me. And if there is, bring it on. I've been to the bottom. And I'm telling you, when you go to the bottom, that's where I'll be, and we'll laugh together there. I'm telling you, there's nothing to fear. But I'm also telling you that this is a journey into fear, to accept the reflections that we see in our mirror as our own judgments. You can't heal what you can't feel. It's no good if it's just in your head, you know. That's where it's at. That realization, that recognition, it's like, holy crap. I've just found a big chunk of stuff here. Now I need a miracle. I love you, Fran. I love you more than those words can penetrate, you know, much more. But we're here to do the work. We're here to do the work. We're here to get real. Even when it looks all fuck. And if it's not looking as ugly as all fuck, then we're not doing the work. I'm the, what do you call it? I'm the arrogant arsehole for salvation.
Admirable adversary.
That's it. Devil's advocate. I don't know what you want to call that, but I'm going to be the mirror You know, it's like, this is the funny thing. I went and saw Amachi once, you know, the mother, the Indian guru, and she's incredible. Don't get me wrong. She's amazing. The vibration that woman gives off. If you ever have the chance to go and sit with her, I highly recommend to do it, even just for a minute. But everybody, like with the exception of Ted, who was with me, and maybe a couple of other guys, but everybody, just on the appearance of things, seem to be doing this. They're all sitting there in reverence of the mother. She's up on the podium and the whole thing. And it just smacks of that false sense of spirituality where there's nothing really going on other than idol worship, you know. But there was a few guys that were just falling apart. They were just collapsed. They were just not handling it. That was the real thing going on. You know, that's what we come together to do, to realize our falsity and to stare it in the face, to look at it, and then to own it. Because once you own it, once you take responsibility for what you see in another, and Jesus is going to be your highest point of reference of that. You know, once you take responsibility for what you see in somebody else, you're free of it. It doesn't affect you again because you've owned it within yourself and you've reanimated or repossessed a part of yourself that you've projected out into the world as if it's not you. But if I'm one with all things, it must be me. Finger on the nose. That's the best teaching in the whole universe. Finger on the nose. This has to be me. What I see is my mirror. It's a reflection of my own thoughts. Sometimes it takes a minute to bring it up.
Wow. Thank you.
It's good, isn't it? I'm an arsehole. Everyone who's an arsehole, put their hand up. Come on. Let's have it. Yep. Hooray. That's it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm the denial of God. I'm the denial of God. Yeah, 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 motherfuckers.
Oh, Lord.
All right, I'm going to go have some breakfast. I love you guys. Mwah. Bernadette, try putting the bag. It's really cool.
Oh.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Don't listen to me. Ciao.
Oh.